Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. Now for this part of today's video, we're going to look at 3G2 WA2 Revision Worksheet number 2, right? This is going to be the first part of the video, so I'm going to separate the whole portion into first part and second part. Okay, let's go through some of the easier questions starting from the front first, right? Starting from question 1, the estimated population of some of the countries are given in this table below, right? So the question says, find the total population of China and Japan, giving your answer in standard form. So to get the total population, we just need to add the numbers together. So we want China and Japan. China, that will be 1.35 times 10 to the power of 9, plus Japan, that will be 1.27 times 10 to the power of 8. All right, so you notice that I actually added brackets over here, okay, so that when we do certain calculations, it's less likely to make mistakes. Okay, so let me calculate the answers over here and take a look. One 1.35 10 to the power of 9 plus 1.27 10 to the power of 8. That gives me a total of the number 1477, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the question asks us to express this in standard form. So I need to have a number that is more than 1, less than 10. So I need to put my decimal place over here at this portion. That will be 1.477 times 10 to the power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, right? This is a large number, so the power will be a positive number. So 1.47 times 10 to the power 9, that will be the answer. Okay, next question. Find the ratio of population of Singapore to that of the whole world, right? So the population for Singapore is 4.84 times 10 to the power of 6. And that the population of the world is 6.98 times 10 to the power of 9. Right? Now, the question wants us to express the ratio in the form 1 is to something. So, n is an integer. So, in this case, I need to change this portion over here into 1. Right? So, what can I do? I can divide the whole portion over here by 4.84 times 10 to the power 6. So getting this into 1, so this one will be 698 times 10 to the power 9 divided by 4.84 times 10 to the power of 6. Okay, using our calculator, 6.98 10 to the power of 9. Let me just check again, correct. Over 4.84 10 to the power of 6. That will give me the number 1442.14876 according to your calculator. But since they want n as an integer, so we'll round this off to the nearest whole number integer, which stops here. So 1442. So therefore, the ratio will be 1:1442. Have you gotten the concept? Next question. Now, simplify the following. Express your answer in positive indices form. Positive indices, so let's take a look at here. This one have a power negative. What do we do to the fraction when we have negative power? So with power negative, you can flip the fraction over and change the power to a positive power. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this. And now the power from -3 become +3. So the negative sign over here disappear and changes to, flip. okay, and it changes to a positive power. But next, what we notice using the rule that, A over B to power of n, right? And we need to apply the power to both the numerator and the denominator. So that means I actually need to apply this power 3 to everything, the 2, B, and A, right? So this one will become 2 to the power of 3, 2Q. B to power, what is this? This one, A to power n, bracket n, the power will multiply by each other. So that will give me 3 times 3, 9, over A to power of 3. Okay, however, this is not the simplest form because I have 2 to power 3 over here. Okay, we need to express it as simply as possible. So it's just a number. 2 to power of 3 using a calculator gives you 8. B to power 9, A to power 3. Have you gotten the answer? Next question. Question number 3. Let's take a look at the following. Simplify these, expressing your answer as positive indices. So currently we do not have anything that is of negative power. The negative sign over here is not a power, it's just for the number itself. Our powers over here are tentatively positive, right? So there's nothing to change. But however, this is a division. We'll do the keep, change, keep, flip. Okay, what is the KCF? Keep, change, flip. Sorry, right? So because of division, we're going to change this to keep the first one in front. Change the division to multiplication. Flip the fraction. So we're going to flip the whole fraction to be P over negative 2Q. Whole thing will still be power of T. All right. So when we have that, what do we need to do? This power of 3 we need to apply to both the numerator, the number, and everything. Okay. So we will have 6 P to power 4, 14, Q to power 6 times P to power 3. This one will become negative 2 holding cube. Negative 2 holding cube using our calculator. Negative 2 holding cube gives me negative 8. So I should put negative 8 over here. And then Q to the power of 3. Right? So what I'm going to do, usually I know that students like to do cancellation, but it's very difficult or dangerous to cancel, and then sometimes you forget the terms that you have. So usually what I'll do is I'll just multiply numerator denominator with denominator. So I'm going to multiply the numerator, I'll get 6 P to power 4, Okay, this one is P to power 4 and P to power 3. So when we have multiplication, the power add together, that will give me P to power 7. Right? Then my denominator, 14 times negative 8. 14 times negative 8 gives me negative 112. Then Q6 and Q3. So there will be Q to power 9 over here. But last but not least, let us simplify our fraction over this portion. So 6 over negative 112, that leaves me with 3 over negative 56, P to power 7, Q to power 9. Have you gotten the answer? Next question. Now, simplify the following, giving answer in positive indices. Now, I purposely chose this question because of the confusing portion that student might face with negative power. Observe very carefully in this question. This negative power 4 is only 4. Is it for 3? Is it for P? Or is it for 3P? Notice there is no brackets over here. There are no brackets, right? So this power negative 4 is simply only for P itself, right? So it's only for P itself. So in this case, I will have 1 over 9 divided by, I'll keep 3 because 3 doesn't need to change. But what is p to power of -4? Originally, p is p over 1. When I power -4, it needs to flip. It will become 1 over p now, and the power will change to a positive power. So this p will now be in the denominator. So the negative power is only for p, only p need to shift a house, right? So it will go down, p will now go down to the basement with a power +4. Then next, this is division sign. So we'll do division as multiplication. We flip the fraction, p to power 4 over 3. And we multiply numerator, p to power 4. Denominator, 9 times 3, 27. Have you gotten the answer? So please take note of the possible careless mistake. Okay, next question. Now, next part of question is on completing square. Show that the following equation can be expressed in this form. Now, whenever you see this form, it's regardless of whether is it going to be x plus a square plus b, or is it x minus a square minus b, whatever that the version of the sign is, it doesn't matter. This whole expression over here simply only tells you do completing square. Okay, so it simply only tells you to do completing square. But what will be the correct sign that we are going to follow? We are going to follow the sign based on our question. So if I want to put x squared minus 6x minus 20 into a completed square form, I need to first have a square. Okay, we'll always begin with x squared. So x squared, x times x gives me x squared. Next thing, I need to look at -6x. I need to split -6x into 2 equal portions over at these two sides. How to split -6x into 2 equal portions? So I'll divide by negative, divide by 2. That will give me -3x over here, -3x over here. Then I need to think what number times x can give me -3x. The number will be -3. Similarly, what number times x can give me -3x? The number will be -3. All right. In order to complete the square, we have this portion over here. This number is formed by -3 times -3, or rather -3 bracket whole thing with the bracket square. So some students who do not put the bracket, you will end up with a -9. That is not correct. But negative times negative become positive. So it's a +9 over here. Okay, but in our original question, there is no 9. So what are we going to do? We're going to add a 9 and subtract the 9. So that would be the same status quo, right? So we're going to have x squared minus 6x. I'm going to do a +9 and a -9. Then I still have a -20. I'm going to bring down my -20. All right. So that this portion over here will give me my perfect square, which is x minus 3 whole thing squared. So where do we get the x minus 3? We read it from here, this portion, right? So this whole portion becomes x minus 3 whole thing squared. Then the other portion over here, this will be -9 minus 20. That will give me -29. And this will be the answer. Have you gotten the concept? Now I'll sidetrack a little bit. What is the purpose of the looking at this? Sometimes certain questions may ask me to write down the value for A and B. Let's compare these. I have written down the answer in completed square form already. If I were to compare the answers, you can read from here x Okay, this one over here is x minus, then what will be a? A will be the number 3. So if I were to have, if the question asks me, if question asks for value of A and B, A will be equals to the number 3, according to this format of the question. If the question asks me for the value for B, what is the value for B? You notice this is a positive B, but this is a negative 29. So that means the whole portion of this is equals to negative 29, which means B is equals to negative 29. Okay, so if there are certain parts of the question that may ask you, certain types of question that may ask you what's the value of A and what's the value of B, then you need to probably compare it this way. So plus B equals to negative 29. Then compare the numbers and write down the individual numbers. All right. But if not, if the question just simply write it as, it can be expressed into this form. So we'll just write this as our answer. Okay. Next part of the question says hence. So that means hence, what does the word hence means? I must use the answer in part A. First, let us be safe and check, is this equation over here the same, exactly the same as these? So because sometimes there might be one or two numbers that might be different, that we need to do something to it to change it. If not, then usually most of the case, these two expressions are exactly the same. When they are exactly the same, I just replace the whole expression over here by our answer in part A. All right, do notice that there is also error carried forward. If you get the wrong answer in part A, you use it to do part B, you can still get some form of method marks, right? As long as your answers is still logical and your steps are logical, you will get the marks. So do attempt all the different questions and try to use the answers for it, okay? Now, how are we going to solve this equation? To solve this equation, first one, shift the number over here. This is negative 29 to the other side. So reversing it, negative 29 bring over, then reverse the operation of subtraction and become positive. So x minus 3 whole thing square will become positive 29. So next, so first step, shift. Second step, I do not want the square over here, right? So I take square root. Plus, when I take square root, there are two possible answers, plus or minus square root. Then I'm just left with x minus 3 equals to square root 29, the positive answer, or negative square root 29, the negative answer. Next thing, I will want to get rid of minus 3, so I have to shift the negative 3 over. Okay, so this is minus 3, you become plus 3. So x equals to square root 29 plus 3 or negative square root 29 plus 3. Then now we're going to look at our question. Question say, give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to calculate my number. So square root 29. Remember, this plus 3 is outside the square root. For your calculator, press the arrow button, shift it outside the square root, because the common mistake is students will put it inside the square root and they do not get the correct answer. Okay, then I round it off to 385, so it becomes 39. Right, as 2dp. Then I go back at a negative to my 39. That will give me negative 2.385. Then round off, become 39. 2 decimal places. Have you gotten the concept? First step, shift, then take square root, 2 answers, and then you shift your number over, and then get your answer according to the question. If the question wants 3 sig fig, then you write 3 sig fig. If it's 1, 2 decimal places, you write 2 decimal places. sometimes the question paper does not specify what they want. So when they do not specify, you put your answer in 3 significant figures. Right, one more of the same type of question, but in this time round, we may have a little bit of fractions. Let's take a look at this question, right? So express the following in the form x plus a squared plus b. What does this mean? This just means do completing square. Let's begin with x squared plus 11x minus 15. I'll have my square over here. I want x squared, so I have x times x to give me x squared. What did I do with my positive 11? So I'll take 11x divided by 2. So it will be a fraction. I'm not going to simplify too much. I just press 11 over 2. 11 over 2 is still 11 over 2, cannot be simplified. I'm not going to change it to a mixed number. I'll keep it as an improper fraction. So this is 11 over 2 positive, 11 over 2 positive x. Okay, next one we need to consider what number times x can give me positive 11 over 2x. What number times x can give me positive 11 over 2x? That will be positive 11 over 2, positive 11 over 2, correct? So in this case, we have our completed square, but the completed square form will need this square over here. I need to know this number. These numbers can get by taking positive 11 over 2 times positive 11 over 2. So 11 over 2 times 11 over 2. Not a nice number, doesn't matter. Just keep it as a fraction, right? So 11 over 2 whole thing square. That will give me 121 over 4. Right? But my original equation do not have 121 over 4. So I'll probably need to insert it over here by adding 121 over 4 and subtracting 121 over 4. And we still have our negative 15. We're going to bring down our negative 15. Okay, sorry, no space. Okay. And then our first 3 terms, this is the portion that gives us the completed square form, right? So this is positive 12, right? So in this case, we change it into our perfect square. How to get the perfect square? Where do I get it from? We get it from here, correct? So we have our expression x plus 11 over 2 whole thing square. Then we calculate this, not going to be a nice number, negative 121 over 4. Minus 15. I'm going to write everything as improper fraction. So this one will become negative 181 over. Have you gotten the answer? Next part of the question, hence solve, right? So we're going to use these, our answer, but first let's check. Okay, make it a good habit to check x squared plus 11x minus 15 are exactly the same. So this portion is exactly the same. We can safely use this, right? So we're going to use these. X plus 11 over 2 squared minus 181 over 4 equals to 0. Then let us apply our steps. Shift, take square root with 2 answers, then shift again, then we get our answers for x, then find x, right? So first part, shift this number over here, and we get x plus 2, 11 over 2 squared. Then after that, take square root plus or minus with 2 answers, and the square will be gone. Then next, find our x value. Okay, this is plus 121, so I'm going to minus. Remember, subtract 11 over 2, this is outside of the square root, outside of the square root. And now let's read the question, giving your answer to 2 decimal places. So we're going to follow the question. So I'm going to press my calculator, 181 over 4. Remember to press the arrow button, shift it outside, minus 11 over 2. And that will give me the first answer, 1.2268, rounded off to 2 decimal places, 1.23. Okay. The other answer with a negative for square root 181, that would give me negative 12.2268. Round off to 2 decimal places, 12.23. Have you gotten the answer? Right? If that's the case, let's do one more page, and then we'll end off for this first half of our paper. All right. Okay, first page, one more page over here. Let's look at the indices question. So revising our indices concepts, we have quite a number of concepts available over here. Right, first one, when we have division, right, the power, this one is division, powers subtract each other, and that is only if we have the same base. So base 2, base 2, base 2, everyone have the same base. So we can happily combine the powers. 3p, when I have division, a to power m, the powers subtract each other. So they minus. Then when I have root, square root actually means divide the power by 2. So if my original power is 1, I'm going to divide my power by 2. That will give me power half. Okay, similarly, if I have cube root, I'm going to divide the power by 3, a to power 1/3. So if I have the other form root, I'll divide my power by whatever root form that is. So in this case, this will become 2 to power of, the square root means divide the power by 2, become 1 over 2. Okay, simplifying, this is 2 to the power 3p minus p, 2p. Since the base and the base are the same, the powers and the powers must be equal to each other. So therefore, 2p equals to half. Okay, get rid of 2, divide by 2. So half divided by 2 gives you 1/4. Have you gotten the answer? Next question. Now, just now we have this question over here. All 3 of them have the same base. But you notice in this question, do they have the same base? Now the base is not the same. So when the base is not the same, sometimes you'll be like thinking, oh, which number should I change the base to? Usually the trick, the easiest way to confirm is to change everything into the smallest prime factor. So for me itself, I will probably not even choose 4. I'll choose everything to be 2. So 4 is divisible by 2. We'll do the long division. Divide by 2, get 2. So 4 is 2 to the power of 1, 2, 2 to the power 2. So 4 becomes 2 to the power 2. Not forgetting there is a power 2 here. So it needs to be multiplied by 2. Okay, divide by 8. Divide by 2, 4. 8 is 2 to the power of 1, 2, 3. That will be 2 to the power of 3. Not forgetting there is a 2x over here, so it's multiplied to 2x. Okay, then next one, this is something very common, 1 over. When we see this 1 over, we need to think of the fractional indices, the negative indices form. A to the power negative 1 is 1 over a. Correct? So in this case, we are going to change 64, a1 over 64 to 64 to the power of negative 1. Okay, so we'll change 64 to the power of -1. But I still want to change 64 into base 2. So I'm not going to keep 64, I'm going to change 64. 64 divided by 2, 36, 32. Divide by 2 again, 16. Divide by 2, 8, 4. So eventually we have 64 is 2 to the power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that will be 2 to the power of 6. All right. So what do we have? We have 2 to the power of 2 times 2 gives me 4. Divided by 2 to the power 3 times 2x. So it's 6x. This is not 6 minus 1. This is 6 times -1, okay? So 2 to the power -6. Not 6 minus 1, okay? 6 to power 6 times -1. Then now when we have division, the power subtract each other. A to the power m. Then we'll get 2 to the power 4 minus 6x. Oops, my color changed. And this is 2 to the power -6. Okay, combining this already, the power equals to the power. So 4 minus 6x will be equals to the number -6. -6x, I'll bring 4 over, so become -4. That will give me -6 minus 4 is -10. Then next, I do not want -6. I get rid of the sign. 6x equals to 10. And x equals to 10 over 6. Please remember to simplify your fraction. 5 over 3. Okay, I will choose to leave it in terms of fraction, the exact value, not decimal places. Have you gotten the concept? Last part of the question, last two questions for this video. Over here, last part. Okay, I'll go through the compound interest also. Here again, let's take a look at the base. They have different base. One is a 6, one is a 36, another one is a 1. The moment we see this number 1, we should be very happy and think of one particular index rule. Do you remember? What's that? A to power of 0. A to power anything to power 0 is 1. So I can change 1 to be any base that I want. So 6 itself, and notice 36 is 6 times 6, which is 6 square, right? So I'll change everything to a base 6. So this one will be 6 to power 0. Then 6, this still have a 2x minus 1 times 36. I will have 36 divided by 6, sorry. And 36 is 6 squared, but not forgetting there's an x outside, so I need to multiply it to x. Okay, when we have addition over a multiplication over here, the powers add together. Right? So we will have 6, 2x minus 1 plus the power 2x equals to 6 to the power 0. Let's simplify our power. 2x plus 2x is 4x minus 1. Okay, so comparing the powers, since the base are the same, comparing the powers, 4x is minus 1 is equals to 0. Shift the 1 over. 4x equals to 1, x equals to 1 over 4. Again, I'll leave my answer as a fraction. Okay. Now, since I want to finish up for this part of the chapter, this question and question 11 and 12 are pretty much related. So what I'll do, I'll stop at question 12 instead. All right, so sorry to extend the length of the video. I'll just do a bit more, okay, to finish up this part of the chapter. Now, John borrowed 8,000 from a bank which charges compound interest at a rate of, this is the amount that he borrowed. Okay, when you borrow money, the more the interest, the more expensive it is, right? So that you don't want. So the question asks you to find the total amount of money he owed the bank at the end of 4 years. Our compound interest rate starts with the formula total amount. It does not start with P, it starts with total amount. Please remember, P bracket 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N, or the number of time, right? So my P in this case is 8,000. 1 plus interest rate, 16%. Wow, that's a lot. 3 years. Okay, now I'll just key this into my calculator. And we get the number 12487.168. But since it's money, so it'll be 2 DP. So I round it off to 12487.17. 2 decimal places. Have you gotten the answer? Now, this is the total amount of money. The next part of the question asks me for the interest, right? So how do you get the interest? The interest for compound interest will be take the total amount, subtract away the principal, the original amount. So that will be 12487.168. Subtract away 8,000. And that gives me $4,487.17. I round it off to 2 decimal places again. Have you gotten the concept? Next question, last 2. Right? Next question over here is slightly a little bit of word problem where you need to reverse and do certain working. Okay, so we need to find out some of the unknowns using the compound interest formula. Given that Mr. Sunny, he put this amount, this is your P, when he closes account in 28, so when from here to here, 27 to 2010 is actually 3 years. So my time period is 3 years, or rather my N is also 3 years. Okay, and this amount, he withdrew a total of, this is actually your total amount, okay, which is made up of the principal and the compound interest. So it's just purely the interest. Find the rate of interest. So the R is unknown. So what we do is we have our compound interest formula, total amount equals to P bracket 1 plus R over 100 power N. So what do I put for my total amount? The total amount is actually this number. I'll put it down here, 10927.27. My principal amount was 10,000. 1 plus interest rate, I do not know, 100 to the power of 3. Okay. So this one, you have a few important steps that you need to do. Number 1, get rid of, this is 10,000 multiplied to it, right? So we get rid of 10,000 first, we'll divide. Okay, to get 1 plus R over 100 to the power of 3. Okay, so the first step, divide. Then next one, we want to get rid of the power here. This is cube, right? So we do the reverse, we opposite. Okay, root. We root, right, according to the question. So this will be cube root. That is cube, right? So we have cube root of whatever number. I'm lazy to calculate and then end up with a lot of decimal place that I need to press. So 10,000, yeah, correct. So in this case, I'll just leave it as like that first. And that gives me 1 plus R over 100. Okay, so maybe now it's time I need to key this number. Cube root of 10927.27 over 10,000. Okay, and that ends up with the number 1.03. Okay, equals to 1 plus R over 100. So what do I need to do? I get rid of 1, so I minus 1. Okay, and I get 0.03 R over 100. Next, I multiply by 100. And this one should be pink color. Okay, so 0.03 minus 1 times 100, that will give me 3%. So the interest rate is just 3%. Have you gotten the concept? Next question, last but not least for this video. Okay, Danny borrowed a sum of money. They do not know what is the original amount. So P is a question mark. 10% is my interest rate. Then they say after 3 years, so my time period T or N is 3 years. Total amount, this one I need to put in pink color. This is the total amount now, right? Is how much have you borrowed? So I'm going to use my formula. Total amount, remember formula is total amount equals to P bracket 1 plus R over 100 power N. So we shall replace this 600, this one, right, into our total amount. So that will give me 665.50. P is unknown. 1 plus R, interest rate is 10% over 100, power of 3. Now you notice that this whole thing over here can be calculated. So what I need to do is just a number, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the P by dividing it away to this side. So I shall divide 665.50 divide by 1 plus 10 over 100 to the power of 3. I'm left with P. Okay, then let's calculate out our answer. Divide by 1 plus 10 over 100 over 3. And that gives me exactly the answer, 500. So he started by borrowing 500 in the beginning. Have you gotten the concept? Okay, with that, then I'll end this first part of the revision video for here, and I'll see you for the next lesson. Bye-bye.